Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Nashville Severe Weather coming at you with a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for northern parts of Williamson County, southern parts of Davidson County. The warning is for winds in excess of 60 miles an hour, hail the size of a quarter. Looks like a big complex of storms here going through Bellevue, Temple Hills, northern Williamson County, moving into Westmead, into Brentwood. No tornado concerns, no rotation noted anywhere as we go through the velocity products, but we do have concern for straight lined winds. The Weather Service with this warning is also concerned with hail that can be damaging. So, hail greater than 1 inch. Wind damage to patio umbrellas are for sure going to take off in winds like this. But really, fences, siding, roofs, gutters, all susceptible to straight line wind damage. Watching the radar. As we roll it back a few scans, we can see that it is pretty much headed, some of the strongest winds, these brightest colors, headed through Warner Park into Bellmead. I know the storm just ran through here about a minute or so ago, and lots of wind-driven rain into windows, etc. Covering a little bit on Twitter here while we get things spun up. Some folks sending some pictures of some concerning clouds. Again, there's no real concern for rotation. More than anything, worried about straight line wind and damaging hail. David Drobny joining us live. David, looks like straight line wind and hail event. Looks like the brightest winds are moving into kind of the Forest Hills, Bellmead area. I mentioned a second ago that it just came through here and a lot of wind driven rain, but thankfully no damage. Can't hear you there, boss.
How about unmuting my mic will help you,
How about
right?
that?
Yeah, there's a ton of CGE positive lightning strikes with this.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the most strikes are negative. The positive ones are especially strong. These are cloud to ground strikes. And the area with the most dense lightning strike is really kind of near Bellevue, kind of up near Grassland, near Edwin Warner Park. And that's moving up into Forest Hills, Bellmead, Oak Hill, Berry Hill, Vanderbilt, into that area. So not only is that the area where we're severe thunderstorm warned, but it's also, it's not raining where you are right now. So y'all hear the thunder. Get on inside. So if you're downtown, get on inside. And this looks like it's also going to rain out my softball game tonight, as I'm sure some of the viewers might be tuning in and wondering what I think about that. It's heading right for the park. So I have a low opinion as to whether or not anybody's going to play softball in Nashville tonight. As a result, this is a ton of rain. Some of the DBZ values are exceptional. The atmosphere is so super water loaded that it's not taking very much to release all the water. The precipitable water tables, they're not like at the top of the scale, but they're really far up there. So this storm will be a pretty efficient rainmaker. The winds are certainly a concern. And, if TBNA wasn't broken, we could probably get a better view of what the winds were, which is that radar site over near Nolensville. The winds that I'm seeing that you're talking about, Will, I'm not sure that the radar at Old Hickory is sampling them very well. So we'll see. Also, if you look kind of on the screen there that Will's got, see that little storm, part of the appendage up near Riverwalk. which is just on the northern side of that polygon. It looks to me like the outflow boundary that had just passed through Nashville, that this storm is going to follow in the wake, and you can see evidence of that with that little hook-looking thing. That's the top of that outflow boundary that's running north into town. So what'll happen is I think super heavy rain is going to fill in and get into at least through like Briley Parkway and even get up into Fontenelle, Madison, and then eventually up into Rivergate. That's what I think is going to happen.
Still seeing severe winds, potentially severe winds in here in this notch that David was talking about, right? The Weather Service is seeing something. I don't know that Old Hickory is sampling it great, seeing some pixels and in the 40s. But yeah, the lightning threat, something I didn't touch on initially, but yeah, big danger, super electrical. All these white dots that you see through here are recent strikes. These white pluses are recent strikes, and then green is a little bit older. So if you are anywhere near Grassland, if you're near Warner Park, Green Hills, after that, some of the most electrical part of the storm is going to come through there.
Yeah, pretty beefy. Weather Service put a tag in there saying that we might actually even get some hailstones out of this storm up to an inch. I'm not seeing much of that, but this storm I think might actually explode a little bit more as it gets further into town, as it crosses 70 and 440, as it gets into South Nashville. I'm going to toggle on my little Haley radar here and see if it's got anything. Yeah, so the area that's suspected of having hail is coming into Bellevue now.
Yeah, I have the MEHS.
Yeah, so the WSV software that I have here, Will, has got, let me sample it. Looks like up to 1 inch, but it's a really small area, 1 inch hail. I don't think this is going to be a very big hailstorm. So you might get pea-sized hail out of it. And part of the reason is it's so hot that as these stones are coming down, they're melting. But because the updraft is so intense, it's keeping them up in that sub-freezing air. If you go really far up into these thunderstorms, you'll get some obviously some frozen temps. But you got to go pretty high up. That's a pretty big storm. Like I said, we've certainly seen worse storms. If you're wondering, there's no concern of a tornado with this at all. So no tornado. This is a straight line wind concern. It's also like everybody's saying here in our chat. I mean, good grief, the lightning. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen this much lightning in here. Especially getting to downtown. This is almost Garth Brooks show frequency lightning.
It really is. That is the lightning storm by which all other lightning storms will be measured.
Yeah, I can remember in the 12, 13 years we've been doing this. I remember 1 or 2 storms that had more lightning than this one. And by the way, those were like way more than this. But this has got a ton of CG. So this isn't one of those like, let's just go sit under a tree. I'm also you need to get into an enclosed structure. So like a pavilion that's 3/4 closed off isn't good enough because if lightning hits it, you're not protected. So a car is actually a pretty good place to be. I've been in a car that got hit by lightning one time. I was driving down 840. And other than that being very exciting, I was fine. Insurance company wasn't happy about it, but those are the breaks.
That's what happens to insurance companies sometimes. So outflow boundary moving up north through downtown Nashville. So even if you're in Nashville and you haven't felt this rain yet, you're certainly going to feel a change in the wind. As we can see, outflow making its way north through the northern part of Davidson County. That's this line right here. So you'll see a change in the wind, and then certainly start hearing thunder in downtown Nashville. A couple questions that came through, right? Like, so what time do we estimate to get to downtown? Hard question to answer. These storms move kind of erratically, although pretty clear heavy rain closing in, probably some gusty winds closing in on downtown in the next 15, 20 minutes. I expect
before
it to be
4
wet
o'clock is
there.
my guess.
Yeah.
If you're downtown and you're not in a shelter before 4 o'clock, you're going to regret it. And this is not a lightning. I mean, it's a lightning storm, but it's not a storm that an umbrella is going to be really amused by. You might as well not have the umbrella. In fact, if you're planning on going out in this storm downtown or really wherever with your umbrella, just go ahead right now and just destroy your umbrella and throw it in the
Throw it
trash
away.
can now,
Yeah.
so you'll have one less thing to carry as you're getting soaked.
So lots of lightning coming into downtown, tweeting about that now. Not seeing a whole lot of reports come through, but if you guys do have reports, if you can report damage from gust winds, hail greater than 1 inch or the size of a quarter, let us know on T-Spotter. So on Twitter and on Instagram, hashtag T-Spotter. We haven't really ever talked about this on here, but we have moved a little bit more emphasis on Instagram. So those of you that are accustomed to, I should make sure that we're active there now before I talk to you. If you like to follow us on Twitter, you can certainly follow us on Instagram. And so Instagram is happening. Lots of up-to-date stories happening over there. I wish there was a way for us to go live there, but we haven't put any energy into figuring that out. But severe thunderstorm continues. Looks like it will keep getting extended. Going through chat, I expect it to continue. They trimmed the back edge of it, but I expect it to continue into Oak Hill, BNA, Priest Lake. Basically, areas of most concern right now are south of I-40 in southern Davidson County, north of Franklin in northern Williamson County. Although it looks like the southern part of this storm, David, the severe thunderstorm, does not have the wind that the northern part of the storm does.
Yeah, I agree. Although it is kind of hard to tell. The TBNA site down in Nolensville, they needed some parts, and it's that they haven't fixed the radar yet. So without that, it's difficult to say. That radar site is pretty important for our purposes to understand when the radar isn't actually hitting the wind straight on to get a good sampling. If you can try it from a different radar site, you can actually maybe get more of a direct shot at the winds. And without it, we're a little bit blind here. And frankly, that would help us know what was happening down in Franklin in terms of winds. But like you said, Will, I don't see any evidence of.
What is this? So go in
reports.
GR2 analyst and go to TBNA. It's sampling.
It's jacked up.
It's job. That is not what we would expect to see. So not.
Let me try it. Maybe they fixed it. Hang on.
Super reliable at the moment, but let's mess.
Well, hang on. It's got.
I'm
it's giving
saying,
me
hey, I've got
reflectivity data.
returns. Yeah.
Wow.
It's back.
Did we
so
just
sampling
manifest
through
this?
here, 27 knot returns pretty consistently.
Yeah, those aren't severe.
300 feet. So the southern part of this storm is not looking severe. And then TBNA doesn't give me much reliable.
Yeah,
return.
it's not telling us what's happening in Forest Hills, Bellevue, Riverwalk, because those winds are moving perpendicular to the beam.
Yeah.
So this is like trying to rub your head and pat your belly at the same time. But it's not getting a good picture of it. And I would think, Will, that we would have seen some reports of like trees down and stuff if these are
and not really seeing any reports related to that at all. So if you're just joining us, looks like there's about 700 or so on YouTube Live covering severe thunderstorm here just south of Nashville, southwestern part of Davidson County. The severe thunderstorm warning, which I can bring up here on the screen, came in at 3:45. It is warning for winds in excess of 60 miles an hour, hail greater than 1 inch or the size of a quarter, which is expected to cause damage to both structure and vehicles. Looks like the strongest part of the storm moving into Belmead, Midtown. If you're familiar with the Harding Road stretch of West End before the split, which is right here. So Westmead encountering really heavy rain, really frequent lightning, moving into the White Bridge Road, Woodmont Boulevard, West End, Sylvan Park, Richland neighborhoods here off of West End near MBA, near St. Thomas, near the 440 intersection, all in the path of a very electrical storm. So if you are outside, time to head inside off the golf course, out of the pool. David, are you still looking at winds? Have you seen anything super
Yeah, it
concerning?
looks like, frankly, I can't see evidence of even a 50-mile-an-hour wind right now. And I would think that as this storm approaches 440, which is what it's doing now, we'd at least have something from OHX
Yeah.
that looked blue, which blue is an indication of not of a 58 knot wind, and I don't see any of that either. And also, I'm seeing a decline in lightning frequency, although to be clear, there is for sure some CG lightning coming out in the storm in
Yeah.
Forest Hills, in Bellevue, at I-40 in Charlotte,
And so one of we
Nashville
can
Tech. Yeah.
we can do that is we can see the density of old strikes here, really thick, lots of dots. And then we see newer dots, these whites and greens out here, not quite as dense, but still a very electrical storm.
Yeah, and it's also striking out ahead of the rain. So I think some people usually, in my experience, when I've been at ball field and stuff, people usually don't actually go inside until they know they're going to get wet. And what's happening is the 3 or 4 minutes before the storm actually gets to them and the raindrops hit them, they are in range of the lightning strikes. So don't wait for the water to come before you get inside, because I do see some, more than a little bit of evidence of cloud to ground strikes that are occurring out ahead of the rain. So that's
Yep.
why the saying is when thunder roars, go indoors, or you see a flash dash into safety, because that lightning risk isn't limited to where it's raining. It's also going to extend out away from the storm where it's not yet raining, or it has just rained, frankly.
Yeah. So again, and still you probably hear thunder outside here. So near Warner Park, still lots of thunder happening. Grassland, Cottonwood, Scale Brook, up into Warner Park, up into Bellevue, and soon to be Belmead, and then further down West End, lots and lots of lightning. Time to stay in. Just got a new scan, and you can see the heaviest rain moving through Belmead now. White Bridge Road, the Nations, all very, very heavy rain. These whites here, which are, 60 dBz returns, this is going to be a frog strangler when it comes through.
Yeah, I've also got on my radar off screen here, for friends of mine who are, I'm sure, listening to the stream. Cleveland Park is going to get blasted here in about 15 minutes. I'm almost so confident that I'm not even going to get in the car to go. It's going to take. There's a guy on our team who's not here, who's like Moses. He can part the waters, but he's not here. So he's the only one who could save us, and he's out of town. So I fear for all your ball fields, like Granny White Park, all the way up into Madison. I just think this is going to be way too much water. Really, only the Vanderbilt baseball field could probably handle this much water and still go on, because there's like no dirt on it. It's all turf. Yeah, this is a lot though.
I just got another tweet out. How looks like
I'm going to do an ETA tweet here, Will.
yes,
That's be a good use of my time.
Be good use of your time. You're the man.
But I actually have to,
So,
do it. I got to figure out how fast this thing's moving now, which is
so focusing attention now,
68.
outside of the severe thunderstorm warning in southwestern Williamson County. I know we got a report earlier around Leapers Fork, Boston, very heavy rain coming through. Looks like that heavy rain is growing in size and perhaps in intensity. Seeing a little bit of wind pick up here near the county line in southern Williamson County. So expect that to get through south of Franklin, get to the Columbia Pike, I-65 area in the next 15 to 20 minutes. Starting from the northern part of the line, you can see light rain starting as it goes through Highway 12 and Briley Parkway, south into the Nations, and then all the way down south on a line from the Nations down to south of Cool Springs Mall, really seeing some really heavy rain, possibly severe winds, lots of thunder and lightning. Thunder and lightning mostly in the northern part of the storm, but still lots of thunder and lightning as it comes through. Want to make sure that you head inside when you hear thunder. Don't wait, as David said earlier, for it to start to rain. As soon as you hear thunder, it's time to decide. Put this in motion, and you can see I didn't download all the cells before I hit the motion, so I'll do that. And you can see the storm is really moving through relatively quickly, but it doesn't feel that way when it's over you. I would say duration in this heavy rain is at least 20 minutes. You're going to be under some really heavy rain as it moves through. Just starting to creep into the Vanderbilt area. Looks like rain is falling. Inside Loop, rain is falling inside of 440. So still covering a severe thunderstorm. And let's take a look and see when we...
I got some ETAs here, Will.
Expect this guy to... Yeah, go ahead, David.
I just tweeted them. I mean, it looks like 405 for BNA, 406 for Antioch, 409 Donaldson, 416 for Percy Priest and Hermitage. But you should already be to safety at Percy Priest, like now. Old Hickory 419, and then out into Wilson County by 430. That's just for the severe kind of part of this thing. I like you said earlier, I think more of the storm, if you could put the radar back on, Will, I think more of the storm is going to form north of downtown, and it's going to actually fill into Fontenelle. It's going to fill into Inglewood, Madison, and fill into Lakewood, and get over to Peeler Park and Donaldson too. So the north part of that storm, see that little blob near the 65-24 split there? I think we're going to see more of those. So yeah, go up a little north, Will. A little bit more than that. See that one right there? I think that area north of downtown is going to fill in with more heavy precip and lightning. As the outflow boundary lifts further north into Nashville, that outflow boundary is a low level of cool air, and it's just going to lift and create more storms in its wake after it passes through. So I think all of East Nashville is going to get a nice drink of water here, and I think the rainfall rates will probably be, I mean, you might be able to squeeze a half inch plus out of it in 30 minutes is my guess, looking at some of these rates. And that's going to rain out almost every dirt field there and make driving really difficult. I mean, if you're trying to get home from downtown, going like into Sumner County or up to Jolton or whatever on the interstate, that's the type of rain that's just so heavy that you really can't see that far in front of you. The car in front of you spraying on your windshield. It's just tough. So Yeah, so Will's got those rates there. What are those purples? Is that the 1 hour product or the 3 hour product, Will? Will, I don't hear you.
So this product measures how much rain has fallen over the last hour, and so the darker the color, the more rain fallen. So you can see lots of rain has fallen in the grassland area so far. Lots of rain has fallen west of that towards Paso. These purples are greater than 1.5 inches. So anywhere in this purple area, we're seeing more than an inch and a half of rain over the last hour. And, not surprising to see. I would expect over the next few scans that we'll start to see some of the heavier rain returns show up here. Don't forget, we had a little bit of rain that came out ahead of this before this coalesced into a bigger storm. So that's factoring into some of these rainfall rate returns. But area heaviest rain right now looks like to be over the Midtown area, the 440 area. So from Belmont West back up to close to Woodmont Boulevard and White Bridge Road into Elmington Park, the 440 area. So if you're on Bowling Avenue, West End at 440, I would say all of 440 is a pretty treacherous drive right now with all that rain. In fact, let's see that. See if we can pull that real quick. And then I would
Traffic
assume
cams.
here pretty soon. Yeah, so pretty miserable drive, 440 at West End. So if you're trying to cut out of the office and hop on 440, I would wait about 30 minutes. There's a severe thunderstorm warning for you, and that severe thunderstorm warning is capable of high winds, damaging hail, and frequent cloud-to-ground lightning, not to mention the hazard associated with driving through rain that is that heavy. So please give it a minute before you go hopping out onto the interstate. Really, any of the interstates around Nashville are going to have the same issue here, David.
Yeah, it's just going to be a crappy commute. This is one of those where you're probably better off to wait an hour and then try to go now. You might get home faster. And really, behind this, I don't see much. I think Wilco is going to get a lot of rain here, especially along I-65 as the storm kind of trails back into Murray County and even further down into Hohenwald and Lawrenceburg. All that rain is going to have to push through Wilco and really kind of solve almost some of the abnormally dry conditions that are there. I'll be surprised if we're in any of the drought monitor data that comes out this time next week. Weather Service said that they are anticipating not extending the severe thunderstorm warning past 4:15 and just allow it to expire at 4:15. And they'll probably replace it with one of their significant weather advisories, which says, hey, we think there could be some small hail and 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts, along with the torrential rain and cloud-to-ground lightning. But that would indicate that the storm itself is weakening, meaning not that it's safe, because it's not, but meaning that it's not going to hit the threshold that they use to determine whether it's severe, which is whether the wind is 60 miles an hour, or the hail has potential to be 1 inch or bigger. And 1 inch is about the size of a quarter. So it looks like we'll be on here another 9 minutes, and I am looking for any hope, selfishly, is to my softball game, because I'm to the point where I might have to get into the car if I'm going to make it on time, and I just don't think there's any way we're going to play. So,
Well,
not much else to say. No tornado risk.
Not much else to say. Yeah. So severe winds dying down. If the Weather Service is saying that they don't expect to extend the warning, then they're seeing that this thing is starting to die down. Still seeing lots of frequent lightning. And that's really been our biggest concern all along, is just how much lightning hitting in these populated areas that it's starting to move through. So you can see he's moving through 12 South, down through Vanderbilt, Sylvan Park. Now, heavy rain, again, still in Midtown, and then a little bit further up into Inglewood, just north of Germantown, all the way up to almost Madison, seeing some very heavy rain. Not seeing any wind gusts that are really causing concern up there. Maybe some 40-mile-an-hour winds. And I would assume that you're right, David. The Weather Service will issue a significant weather advisory here pretty soon, and that'll cover it.
Yeah. Sorry, I had a work email I had to look at.
It's a good one.
No, that's right. Also, the lightning activity is coming down a little bit, but man, we're still getting these CG strikes. We got one over in Melrose, over by the soccer stadium here just a minute ago. We've got probably going to get a lot more lightning up in Inglewood and Madison as that new little storm develops, kind of just on the north side of that severe warning polygon that Will has looping right there. So I think we're going to be dodging the lightning bolt. Somebody asked about the Sounds game tonight. I mean, I think actually this is probably pretty well timed for the Sounds game, where y'all be able to get it in. Go ahead and get all the energy released now, so that later tonight it's going to be pretty nice. So I would think after about 6 or so, things will be pretty good.
I agree with that.
Whatever you want.
It should be a pretty steamy evening, though. Lots of this water is going to be held near the surface, especially in grassy areas, and especially where impervious surfaces have heated up throughout the day. Going to be a steamy evening. No real breeze behind any of this either. Taking off that rainfall product and switching into visible satellite. So here in the satellite view, you can see some sun will probably peek through towards the end of the 4 o'clock hour, and just in time for sunset. Some high clouds here, but not a lot of relief from moisture throughout the evening. Even if it's not raining, it'll still feel pretty steamy. So severe thunderstorm warning set to expire here in the next 5 minutes or so. We're really just kind of riding this thing out to the end. Put the storms back in motion. You can see some increased rain activity happening in southern Williamson County as it heads towards I-65. The last couple scans of the radar show it's weakening and falling apart a little bit.
Bro, but we have live stream dodging Cleveland Park. I might have to go get dressed and go get in the car. This is ridiculous.
What'd you say in Cleveland Park?
So it's funny. So in the outflow boundary lifted right over the park. If y'all know, Cleveland Road is one of if you take Ellington Parkway up to Madison, there's Trinity Lane. One of the first exit after you've left downtown is this Cleveland Road Avenue, and that's where we play softball. And when the outflow boundary went over, it didn't create a thunderstorm there. It created it like 3 blocks over. And so it's dry right now. I mean, it's about to get a ton of rain, but I'm not really sure. Like, I'm the pitcher. I might have to get out there. Okay, severe thunderstorm warning.
All right, man, let's go game on. And
I doubt we'll going to play. For the record, I'll be surprised if we play, but I can't, no show.
No, you cannot. And
all right, I'm going to peace out.
So we'll let this loop as this severe thunderstorm warning is about to expire here in the next 4 minutes. Thanks, David.
No, it just expired, Will. They just posted
there we go.
4:11.
So we're off the hook.
They cut it off.
I love it when the Weather Service cancels them after they're done with them so that we can drop off. We only go live when there's a severe thunderstorm warning or sometimes a flash flood warning or a tornado warning. So now that severe thunderstorm warning has expired, we'll go ahead and say goodbye. Thanks so much for following us on Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for joining us on YouTube Live. We'll see everybody